How did you guys like put back the anger and all your like fighting stuff and just come out here today and do this? And my second question is, Darren, can you teach me to fight?
I think this is a great example of life. And 25 years, so no matter what, you know, like if you look at any, I think through COVID and stuff like this, and just over time sort of heals, but it also allows people to grow up and be themselves. So it's being true. And that's the one thing I respect about Claude, is he's been true to the situation and his responsibility, right? So 25 years later with everything else, and to be able to come in and to sign autographs tomorrow, and just to do this because, like he said a bunch of times, this is about the love of the game for all of us. So, like, to me, that they're doing that. As far as the fighting thing, if they change the rules, I will teach you how to protect yourself. If they change the rules, come back to me. But you want to make money, score goals. You want the girls, get the scars.
There you go.
Oh, okay. You want to hear Claude's question about that?
Well, like I said earlier and yesterday when we got together, for me, I never took it personal, and even when the whole thing happened with Chris and his, you know, his family was very upset, and I understood that it's just who I am. I always understood that on the other side, you got another player, you got another mom, another dad, families, and brothers and sisters, and they, you know, they love them and they support them, and you see something like that happen and you get angry, and yeah, you know, was I upset they took it to a certain level? Yes, but for me it was never about the person. I never took it personal when I got injured, and when something happened to me. And hockey guys are great guys. We have, you know, some of the best human beings, and the tougher they are, the softer they are. You know, you get to know, you know, Bob Probert. I got to know Roby better when we did that show in Toronto, and he was just a big teddy bear. He's like a lovely man, a great guy. And unfortunately, he's no longer with us. He's in a better place. But so many of those guys that made, you know, when you say making a living, fighting for yourselves, fighting for your teammates. And I have a son now that has, a big part of his job is doing that. And, you know, I have anxiety the day before when I know he's going to play. I can just imagine the anxiety that you had and other tough guys. So for me, we left it on the ice, and, you know, I run into players all the time, Boston Bruins, when I was in Montreal, or other big rivalries, and we have a good time and we share stories, and in general, they're all good guys.
Great.
Awesome.
Another question.
Yeah, another question. What's your name? Where are you from?
Chris from Washington Township. So you guys played with arguably two of the best captains in the NHL history. So, you know, McCarty, how was it playing with Stevie? Claude, how was it playing with Sakic? And vice versa. McCarty, how was it playing against Sakic? And Claude, how was it playing against Stevie?
You know, they were the same number, and I think they were very similar. As a person, they were quiet leaders. I got to know both of them a little bit. Stevie, when we were in training camp for Canada Cup together, and, you know, great passers, great shooters. Not the biggest guys. They were, you know, they're Hall of Famers. They're great hockey players, and they could do it all. And like I said, they were quiet leaders. They're not very vocal. They just preach by example. And I think you saw both players making big changes in their careers. When Joe was in Quebec, he was a great player. He put up a lot of big numbers, but as the team got better and stronger, and when we won in Colorado, he took it to a new level. And the same with Stevie. there was Stevie before Scotty came over, and when Scotty came over, Stevie became a different player. He was not just a great player, he was the full package, both ends of the ice.
No, absolutely. I think you're seeing it to this day, not only players on the ice, the right-handed and left-handed version of each other, the mirror, but they're doing it now. That's GM. They lead by example, means that their actions speak louder than their words. So, I mean, you know, you see them in the role, and there's two guys that absolutely love hockey.
Absolutely. We have time for one more question, but hey, listen, if you didn't get enough from Claude and from Darren tonight, they're going to be appearing tomorrow in Livonia from 12 to 3 with actually Adam Foote's going to be there as well, correct? So it's going to be the three of you at the Pro Sports Zone at the Laurel Park Mall in Livonia from 12 to 3. So if you didn't have enough of these guys tonight, come over tomorrow to see them. But we got time for one more question here tonight.
Yeah, what's your name? All right, what's your question?
I want to apologize for the death threats for him.
They were all Susan.
We look at these players like our own, you probably do too. I just wanted to say, I did have a question, but somebody else covered it. What a really informative, delightful time it has been. And see it, getting the explanation from both of you as to how the rivalry built up and how you can look back and not hold a grudge. It's just been a delightful time.
Well, I think it's just life. And I think that we all know it's my journey. Life hasn't started. I try to make it accountable. And you know what, the accountability that my friend here shows without this game that the landmark to what it means to all of us, but it just goes to show you that, like in sports is so big, and especially our game of hockey, that this is what we do. We'll go out there and battle, and at the end of the day, the accountability, and you know what, it's just sort of, we call it like we see it. We'll stand up for it and stuff like this. Now, I have the last question for Claude. I've always wanted this. Was there ever that moment after this, when you were like alone in the shower, maybe after one or whatever, and you just went, oh damn, like this is like fucked up? Like, was it that moment? And I know you the regret of what happened, but was there that, like, because if there was that moment to sort of change it, that I hope tonight, at least to some people, can take the whole picture, look at the career, look at the man that, hey, I'm all about you do the crime, you do the time. I think it's time to let this guy sort of, a little bit of a leniency in the eyes, because like I said, he's going to help us win another cup, but I think that the explanation I got, because what do I share with all of you, whether it's sports or whatever, it's my truth, enjoy my truth, and this is a big enough part of it. But was there that moment where it was like, just to the gravity of what it is 25 years later for our organization?
Yeah, like I said, the rivalry, the incident, and everything else was definitely a dark moment, a dark cloud that lasted for a long time. To a point where I had thoughts of, hanging it up and not competing anymore. And it happened, for a while, and I fought through it because I truly loved the game. But to your question, or your comments, is there's a message. And why am I here? Is the message is, we want to teach our kids. We want to teach our kids that they want to play game and they want to compete, but there can be boundaries, and you can compete at the highest level, but you leave it on the ice and you have mutual respect, and not to hold grudges. That everybody steps on the ice, they want to compete, they want to play hard, but you leave it there. And as fans, you can be great fans, and you can go overboard, because you have that right. And we always said, unless the fans are coming out of the seats and they're coming within our territory, which is the ice rink, they have that freedom of cheering for whoever they want to cheer for. and often say things that we hear. We pretend we don't, but we do. But that's a sign of having great fans, and you guys have all been amazing fans for the Wings for a long time.
Absolutely.
And you know, I came the first time we did the signing, and it built up from there. And it was an invitation for me to do the interview. I believe it was on TSN. First time that we sat together, and I was asked, "Would you do it?" And I said, "Absolutely. If you'll do it, I'll do it." And because I also knew the man behind, and when I said to Darren, I'm rooting for you with his off-ice challenges, I meant every word of it. I was sincere because I was cheering for him.
Well, one thing is that's one thing that I learned about Claude is that he's sincere. There's no BS to whatever, the accountability and whatever you agree or you don't. I respect that.
Absolutely. 2 Warriors, 8 Stanley Cups. Darren McCarty, Claude Lemieux. Let's give them a round of applause.